Hi, Kara with the Kahler Team at Kahler Williams Realty. Today we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of what nobody tells you when you're trying to sell your home. First and foremost, the one thing I hear a lot when people are selling their homes is they didn't realize they have so much stuff. When you're working with the Kahler team, we hire a professional stager to come in and do a consultation. Decluttering and depersonalizing is the one thing we hear across the board. So what nobody tells you, the good, the bad, and the ugly of selling your home is you have a lot of stuff. You probably have to pre-pack, declutter, depersonalize everything before we can even start talking about what to do to sell your home. The next thing is your renovations may not have added as much as you think. It's almost like the HGTV curse. Investing $10,000 is not going to automatically increase your home value by $20,000. In fact, a lot of times we'll see people that will put so much money into something that they'll actually end up losing money, or they'll over update their home or overbuild on their home for the area, for the property type. So if you're thinking about doing anything to your home, any major renovations, contact your agents, walk them through it, make sure it makes sense for you. Another thing to keep in mind, something that nobody will really tell you about selling your home, is you are going to have some buyers agents, people that are going to be coming through your home that may not necessarily respect your time. It's few and far between. Most buyers, as long as they're represented by agents, are very respectful and follow the necessary precautions, removing shoes, things like that. However, there are going to be some buyers that, request late showings or super early morning showings, or those buyers or buyer's agents that maybe show up late without letting you know, or canceling without letting you know. They don't necessarily appreciate your time to that extent. So something to keep in mind when you are selling. It may happen, we try to make it happen as minimal as possible for our clients, and we always do follow-up feedback so we know kind of what happens. But if it does happen to you, give it grace. It's something that we do see on occasion, and it is something to just be prepared for. You will stress out about showings, whether there's too few, too many. Did they like it? Did they hate it? What was their feedback? Do they think we're overpriced? Are they going to bring an offer? How many offers am I going to get? So stressing over showings is a real challenge that sellers will have. So keep that in mind when you're selling as well. Sellers are responsible for the property condition from the time we put it on the market to the time we close. We run into this a lot in the summer months. We have significant hail that comes through on occasion, snowstorms, things like that. So if anything happens to the property, weather related or other, it is the seller's responsibility to make sure that the home stays in the same condition or close to the same condition as it was when the buyers submitted the offer. Inspection reports will come up and show, if there's been any hail damage or anything that the buyer requests to be done prior to closing. Here's the kicker though, if we get really close to closing and hailstorm comes up, the seller is responsible until those keys are in, the money is exchanged at the closing table. With that being said, closing may also get delayed. That's something you need to be prepared for. Because we set a specific closing date, our team does everything that we can to keep that closing date stable. However, there are a lot of moving pieces between the appraiser's time frame, the title company's time frame. So that may change, which is out of the control of ourselves or the buyer's agents. So be prepared for that, and also be prepared for what to do if your closing does get extended. As we were just talking, the condition of the home is the seller's responsibility up until closing. So if that closing date gets extended, it is important to also extend your insurance. It does happen where a hailstorm will come the day before closing and the sellers are still responsible. So please keep that in mind. Buyers do shop online, so the way that we promote your home is very important. So when you're selling your home, something that people don't tell you is if you have poor quality photos, bad lighting, the property is not staged, if it's cluttered, if it's any of that, and the buyers look at it online and that is what they see, getting them into the home will be very challenging because they've already kind of written it off in their mind. So keep that in mind as well. Obviously, the clients that choose to work with us, we walk them through all of this before we ever get it on the market because we only have one chance to make a first impression. And so we make sure to make that first impression really memorable, and we want the buyers to want to come to the home. The other side of that is, or another part of this is bidding wars. So a lot of times we'll go to a seller's house and they'll be super excited and they'll want to start a bidding war so they can get the top dollar for their house, which is fantastic. Keep in mind though, bidding wars are stressful across the board for buyers and for sellers. We've had multiple situations where we'll put a home priced right on the market and they'll get multiple offers on it. Start thinking now how you would handle that. If you would give all of the buyers the option to come back with their highest and best, if you would prefer to just be able to look at the ones that you've got and choose from those, or if you're going to counter multiple of them. Also talk with your agent as to what they've seen, what they recommend, and the best case scenario and also the worst case scenario as to what happens. A lot of times in a multiple offer bidding war situation, some buyers have decided to just back out completely because they don't want to be in a bidding war. So talk with your agent, make sure you understand what they recommend, and have an idea of what to do, because a lot of times if you end up in that bidding war, the time frames are very, very, very small. So you may not have a ton of time to decide at that point. So have a game plan. The last bit of information that I want to leave you guys with is keep in mind everything's going to sell for the right price. Price may not be the problem, but more than likely it could be the solution. So if you have a property that's proving to be difficult to sell, if it's something that you can't fix or change about the property, whether it be the location or something foundation-wise, it'll still sell. We just have to find that right price. So these are things that, nobody typically talks about when selling a home, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But selling can be very stressful. Our team does everything we can to make it simpler. And so if you want to discuss ways to make the selling process super easy for you, contact the Kahler team. We're happy to help with any questions you have.